You're in for a good episode today. Today, in this episode of Sector Edge, we have an extended recording. It's going to probably be about a half hour or something like that. But we have the master himself, Costas. I'll tell you all about him if you don't know once we get into the video. But he's an ex-floor trader. He's a great analyst. He's a great trader. And he's going to show you some drone stocks, some quantum computing stocks. He's going to show you what insiders are detecting. Well, he's detecting insiders buying the crap out of certain stocks and sectors. Let's get into it. Costas, before the recording started, we were talking about supply being in control of the market in the short term, giving us a lot of great buying opportunities. Let's see.
The other thing I was going to tell you too, just to think of a couple of things. Bitcoin hit a new high, 107,000, and also interesting, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 8 days in a row. Right, so it's like the roulette wheel spinning. You know,
Bitcoin's at 108 right now.
Huh?
Bitcoin's at 108 right now, by the way.
Yeah, so that's at a record high. But the Dow is down 8 days in a row. And to figure out how rare that is, you have to go back 6 years to 2018 to find the Dow down 8 days in a row.
Well, that's good. That means, you know, it feels like it's due for whatever. But what is it? UHC? Is that United Healthcare's what's the
UNH? Yeah, so that's a Dow component. Yeah, that's definitely been weighing on the Dow for sure.
Yeah, that's really bad. I mean, this was a short that I missed. We should have shorted this because, I mean, it still probably is going to go lower. This thing is probably, I mean, they really took that stock down, man. Because look, like I now want to switch healthcare because it has a bad rep, you know, like it's been exposed as the worst, you know, and it's like now we have United and I kind of want to get out of it now. Costas, let's switch gears to the drones. A lot of interesting things happening with drones and drone stocks. You were looking at Kratos, right? National Security Communications. Kratos is changing the way breakthroughs are brought rapidly to these markets through proven commercial technology approaches, including proactive research and streamlined development process. Kratos is focused in areas where tech advances can have a force multiplier effect, such as unmanned systems, satellite communications, C5ISR, warfighter training and combat systems. So they've been featured in an episode of PBS Behind the Wings video series. And here's Behind the Wings collaborative combat aircraft. So this is a little 26-minute video that people can watch. So this is actually something that if you go to kratosdefense.com, KRATOS defense.com, you can watch this 26-minute video that I think people will find very interesting. Collaborative combat aircraft. It's season 6, episode 2 of this PBS, I guess, series, Behind the Wings. So you can find a lot of really cool stuff here. Go to this website at kratosdefense.com. Also, if you look at the stock chart looks beautiful. This stock chart kind of reminds me of the Red Cat stock chart. You can see it popped. Maybe they announced earnings. Let me take a look at when they announced earnings, when their earnings came out. Kratos, technologies, products, investors. You go to investors. Everybody, you know, try not to get too wrapped up in the story, but when you go to investors, you can go to investor relations basically and read about the company that you own. You don't just have to go to the headlines and some, you know, Google Finance or whatever. Go to the website of the company that you're buying. December 17th, Kratos awarded $6.5 million contract to provide flight testing for hypersonic research to support future weapon systems. All right. When do they announce earnings? So that's December 17th. This is today that this just came out. And there was big volume yesterday. Maybe they knew ahead of time that that announcement was going to come out. I mean, everybody obviously knew. Somebody always knows. I shouldn't say everybody, but somebody always knows. Let me get out of the extended hours trading here. And yeah, nice big spike in volume here yesterday. Don't really see any reason for it. That's public, but you see it in the price behavior before you see it in the news. December 17th, 2024. That's today. But what we were just looking at was yesterday's volume. It's now 9:20 in the morning when we're recording this. So let's go back here and find the next earnings. Earnings due 2/20 of 2025. When was the last time they announced earnings here? Let's see. Earnings. No, July 29th. So when did they announce? July 29th.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it in history
October
here.
28th, earnings conference call. Okay, financial results. November 7th. So November 7th, they announced earnings. And let's see what happened on November 7th. Let me go back to the daily chart.
It spiked.
Yeah, and actually,
On the 8th.
it was down. It spiked the next day. Well, did they announce?
Yeah, well, they probably had earnings after the close on the 7th.
Yeah.
The reaction for this one is probably the 8th. Yeah, that green candle you see right there.
2024. Yeah, 4 p.m. Right. So the next day it popped. So the next day it popped, and you can read all about it. But boom, that happened there. And today, soon to open, you'll see it open lower. Red Cat popped ahead of earnings. You know, it's possible people are thinking about Kratos, and you know, obviously, what happened. You know, this stock, Red Cat. So here's our cat. You can see it ran from like 2.5 up to 12.5, and then pulled back to about 7. I'm going to zoom in right here. You can see when it pulled back. This is what we were just looking at on Thursday. I told you I had sold some puts right here, and then this was Friday. It popped on a much heavier volume. It doesn't look like a lot because this new volume came in. But when it popped, that was Friday. And then over the weekend, there was all the talk about all these drones. And then yesterday, they reported after the close, and the stock came down. So if you see, you know, it closed at 10:45. If I click trade, you'll see the bid 910, the ask is 920. But the close yesterday was 10:45. So it's down for the day. It's still up for, you know, the few days. You know, they're still kind of in the middle. They're going to open somewhere right around here. So all right, maybe a slight sell-off and a continued bull run. But the thing is, Costas, now we have the kind of sell-off in the general market happening. So you have the sell-off in the general market happening. It's probably going to lean on this a little bit more. So I think the theme for today, Costas, is markets selling off short term, but that, considering the big wave of bullishness that we have going on right now, a short-term sell-off is exactly what people want so that they can buy some of the stocks that they've been hoping to get their hands on that they ran away. So if we look at Kratos, what's the symbol again?
KTOS.
KTOS?
KTOS.
Right. Yeah, so we see the stock ran, and although it had a little spike in volume, right, on this news announcement that actually came out today, right? So this is ahead of a news announcement. We'll see what happens. Well, let's take a look at the trades. 28.24. It closed yesterday at 28.29. So really no change. 34,000 shares. No big deal happening today. See what happens. But the general market might lean on this. Now, here's the impact of being in the right sector. All right. So computer sector is still blue. So demand is still in control of the computer sector. And when I hover over the computer sector on the platform, you can see it's ranked number 1. It's ranked number 1 on the matrix. So out of 45 groups, computers is ranked number 1, which is how I found Red Cat to begin with, and how you found Kratos to begin with. Let me change to the light colors here. So computers at the top, semiconductors number 2, aerospace airlines number 3. This is kind of like combined computers and aerospace airlines when you think about it. Internet is number 5. Software is number 7. So within the top 7, you have the 4 tech the 4 tech subsectors, right? So the major technology sector is comprised of 4 tech subsectors: computers, semiconductors, internet, and software, all at the top there. So like tech is just dominating once again. Throughout the next year, 2 or 3, you're going to have tech and financials basically dominating the market. I would have at least half my portfolio in tech and financials, if not more. Concentrate. So yeah, you have the general stock market, Costas, kind of selling off short term. It's already done a lot of what it's going to do to the downside. It's got a little bit more to go to the downside before it reverses back up. We can see that in our indicators that I'm not going to bore people with right now. But let's talk about the fun stuff. You got the drones. Let's talk about some of the gossip that's happening. You got drones. You've got interest rate discussion. You've got the Dow, kind of an outlier, looking more bearish than most other things. What do you make of this market right now, Costas?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of weeks left to go till the end of the year. We had that big run up following the election. Now we're seeing some of the froth come off a little bit, especially from the big cap space. That's where we saw a lot of the big push up there. Now they're actually pulling back, and what's actually outperforming is we're seeing stuff in the small cap space. Some of the smaller stuff, like in the computers group, aerospace, airlines, exactly what you're saying. You're seeing the small groups, even the financials. You got to go all the way down into the small caps, and those are the ones that are doing well. The mega caps are taking a little bit of a breather. The good news is we're seeing some rotation, which is good. It's keeping the bull market healthy, sustainable. It's balanced. We look at the condition of our U.S. industry bell curve, our 45 sector universe, and it's about a mixed bag. We got half the groups in the hands of demand. We got half, or a little bit more than half now, in the hands of supply. So there's some good dispersion in the market right now, and that's perfect for relative strength investing methodology that we ascribe to. So, stock picking, it's a stock picking market going into the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to show on your screen so you could see it. This is the bell curve, the sector bell curve that we look at. This is what the actual market's doing. So the Dow will give you an idea of what the market's doing, but you look at the Dow being dragged down by United Healthcare, right? So United Healthcare is getting creamed right now. Let's see. What is it? UNH, right? United Healthcare.
Yeah, UNH. Yeah, it shed about $80 or $90 billion worth of market cap off the. Off that
and look at the volume. Look at the volume. It's just heavy selling. Now, the psychology behind this, I'm telling you what, my company has one of the United Healthcare plans. And so right away, I'm thinking I got to get out of United Healthcare right away. I don't want to be a company where we're trying to recruit talent. And I say that I have United Healthcare now, because now United Healthcare is in the spotlight of having the highest claim denial rate. And so, of course, all the other companies are thinking the same thing, and you see this is getting smashed. And what that does to the to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. What's the symbol on Thinkorswim for Dow? This will show how little I care about the gosh darn Dow.
It's a dollar sign DJI.
I got it. Yeah, wacky Dow. So you can see that the Dow is sliding with United, and you can see the volume increasing too. And if you only looked at the Dow Jones, you would think that it's much uglier than it really is. Okay, look at SPY. SPY is the S&P 500. Not such a heavy weighting in United Healthcare, and you can see that basically is flat. I'm going to pull up IWM, which is a much better representation of the stock market. You can see that it's sold off. And what I'm seeing, I'm not really going to bore you with it right now, but what I'm seeing in this internal indicators, the shorter term internal indicators, is we have a sell-off. Supply is certainly in control. It's made its way. If you look at it as an oscillator, so from 0 to 100%, it's going to oscillate up and down, right? As opposed to a chart that's gradually kind of like a diagonal line. It's going to always be up and down. So it's more than halfway down already. So it's getting close to that oversold, at which point it reverses back up. That probably will line up with this support level that we have here in the small caps, IWM, Russell 2000. Again, that's 2,000 small cap stocks. What I like about IWM, Russell 2000, is that I'm not going to say it's equally weighted, but if you look at the holdings and the percentage weightings, it's barely equally weighted. It's close. Equally is a very absolute word, but it's close to equally weighted. It's a very fair representation of what's really happening in the stock market. And there's more small cap stocks than there are large cap stocks. And the smaller stocks tend to lead the larger stocks. So you see this is pulled back. If we look at the internal indicators, there's more downside to go before a little reversal up. And you see that we look like we kind of want to gravitate towards this support level. We've gapped up from this level. There goes the bell. We've gapped up from this level. It used to be the resistance level for a very long time. Very important level, IWM around 226, 227. So we'll probably come back down to that and reverse back up if you're just looking at market averages. But it's just interesting to see the difference between this and the Dow and the S&P 500. What you really want to do is you want to look at what I'm showing on the screen right now, which is the bell curve. So this is actually the market. When people say, what's the market doing? This is the picture that comes into my mind. 19 sectors have demand and control. 26 sectors have supply and control. That's why you want to focus on sectors. You want to look at the ones for bullish positions. You want to look to the ones that have demand and control. And if you look, the 4 subsectors of technology all are blue, all have demand and control. Internet is ranked 5 out of 45. Computers ranked number 1, semis ranked number 2, software ranked number 7, and they're all 4 blue. They all have demand and control. So let me go back to the night.
And the broader NASDAQ composite just hit an all-time high yesterday. It's above 20,000.
There you go. So let me pop up the broad, and that's COMP on Thinkorswim, right? COMP probably.
It's I think it's I think it has an extension.
Oh no,
that's
compass. Dollar sign?
Yeah.
Dollar
no,
sign
it's not. No, it's
Oh, I got it. No, do I got it? Do I got it? Now you can see where I was
if you put in COMP, it should fill in some of the blanks and just choose.
It is dollar sign COMP. But yeah, breaking new highs. I mean, this is a completely different chart from all of them. From the S&P, I mean, this one's breaking out from the S&P to the Dow to the small caps. NASDAQ composite is the biggest one. That's not even the QQQs. The QQQs are the 100 largest. So it's kind of like the large cap of NASDAQ.
Yeah, interestingly enough, those big mega caps, they also hit a new high. The Qs did go out also at a record high yesterday as well. So I mean, tech is really working. You know, aside from the tech sector itself, remember they broke away communication services sector, and before they used to be in the broader technology sector. They made its own broad sector, and communication services is actually one of those sectors that is really starting to pick up a lot of buy signals.
So when you're looking at communication services, are you looking at the broad like XLC, or are you looking at
telecom? Yeah, I'm talking about communication services such as XLC would be the ETF that would track that. You know, a big one would be Apple, like Google, Meta platforms. Google, they're not in XLK anymore. They're in XLC.
Yeah, I mean that's been you know,
Netflix,
years, but a lot of people don't even know that.
Netflix would be in there. T-Mobile, you know, those are the big companies that'll live in XLC. So that's becoming a very relevant group now.
Meta 18.7%, Google a combined 19%, Netflix 7%, Disney. All right, you have Disney 5%. Yeah, but I mean a lot of these companies, you know, you've got Apple in there. I thought you had Apple in there. Didn't you have Apple in XLC? I thought you had Apple in there. Maybe not. I'm going to check XLK. Hold on a second. XLK. There's different classification systems. Let's see. Apple. Okay. Apple is an XLK. Yeah. So when you look at Apple as a subsector, they consider it communications stock on a lot of different categorization systems. But yeah, XLK, Apple 14.78, Nvidia almost 14, Microsoft about 13%. All right. So what about these drones, Costas, Bocelli? What about these drones? The government is saying that they don't know. Which Trump came out and said, "Give me a break. The government knows what it is." I love that he went against the grain like that, and he just right off the bat. Everybody's kind of in lockstep. Everybody's in sync. I don't know what it is, but don't worry, everything's fine. We haven't really seen them. I mean, everyone in the country on social media, but not us. The government, the Pentagon doesn't really. But Trump came out and he's like, "What are you kidding me? Come on, let's stop. What are we, children?" You know, he's like, everybody knows what's going on. He's like, I'm not going to say all. He goes, all I'm saying is I'm not going to visit over there, right? He said, I'm going to change my vacation plans. He's like, I'm not going to be around that area, which is a little dangerous. Like I see both sides of it. Like don't alarm everybody because people are nuts, and you don't want to create a panic, right? And Trump came out, and I like the honesty, of course, but he's also like, this little area here. Well, I forget what area he even mentioned, but he's like, I'm not going to be around there. If I'm there, I'm leaving. What about you?
Yeah. Well, what I will say is if you had to sit in on those daily intelligence briefings every day from all the threats that America is probably facing, you know, you'd probably never leave your house ever again. You know what I mean?
To it.
So I mean, it is a scary world out there. So yeah, it is a little striking when you actually see some of that stuff actually out there in mainstream. You're looking up and you see what the heck are these drones in there. And I don't know what to make of it, but it does definitely seem like some type of monitoring. I don't know if it's something they're testing or it's something that they're looking for, but it's definitely peculiar. And probably the good thing is seeing them is probably a good thing because most of the times whenever something really bad happens, you know, we get blindsided, right? It's a total surprise. So maybe taking a proactive measure actually stops that threat.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I remember after 9/11, there was just threat after threat after threat. Supposedly there was, you know, bombs under the George Washington Bridge, and you hear of all. And then there was another plane crash, which was really weird. They like immediately, like a week or something, or a few weeks after 9/11, whatever it was, there was that plane crash in Far Rockaway, which is basically right next to the JFK airport. All of a sudden, the plane just crashed in the neighborhood, like landed on houses and things like that. And then they said it's unrelated, and it happened right after 9/11. I hate the way that the government communicates with us. But anyway, let's talk about the drone stocks. We were talking about Red Cat, RCAT, and I'll cut this together with what we said a little earlier. But RCAT from yesterday's close is down 16% at 872, but it's still up. After pulling back to lower than 7, sub 7, it bumped up on heavy volume. Next day, looked like almost. I mean, it's a combination, right? It's hard to tell. You see that the stock popped on heavy volume, but the stock popped. I mean, it's ahead of earnings, and normally you would think that would be because the earnings were coming out. But really, the reason that popped is because over the weekend there was all these drone sightings, and people are just like, all right, this is going to be in the news. People are going to be talking about Red Cat. And I think you have drone stock that you also like, right?
Yeah, one is a little bit more established, got a bigger market cap. Kratos, the symbol is KTOS. So they are a company that has a lot of revenue coming from the Department of Defense, and it's in a beautiful long-term trend, positive trend, making higher highs, higher lows. The 50-day moving average is around 26, and it's been trending up. It's a great looking stock. I mean, if folks that are looking to add or accumulate, put fresh money to work, welcome this weakness. Welcome a pullback, and get yourself some Kratos, because the stock keeps moving higher.
Can you reveal any DMI alerts? What are you seeing in DMI? What are insiders doing? So just to be clear, Costas has a system that he manages, DMI, the dark money indicator. And what he does, Costas Pacelli being an ex-floor trader from the Philadelphia Stock Exchange, he used to basically be on the floor and see the orders coming in. And when it would be, and a lot of these orders were numbered. So instead of having a name on the account, they were just numbered account numbers. And he would see sometimes some wild trades coming in where people are either taking insane risk and they smoked too much crack, and now they're putting millions of dollars into this super, super risky option that you have to be exactly right. You can't even be a little wrong or you'll lose everything. And people used to profit after seeing those things coming in and developing a little bit of a pattern and understanding, all right, this is the person that's generally right. And when they make these crazy bets, they're usually good to ride their coattails. But now from his living room, he's using the dark money indicator, DMI, and he's seeing the same thing. But instead of being just in one seat on the floor of the exchange, he's scouring the entire options market and using an algorithm, narrowing it down to some of the riskiest, craziest options trades, and they have to be a certain size or bigger. And if that happens, it hits his dark money indicator. And generally speaking, it's usually somebody who knows something. You never know for sure what it is, but if someone's making that crazy of a bet with that much money, generally they know something, and it's got an amazing track record with it. So with that, what are you seeing? Are you seeing anything you can share with us? Free little freebie for people. What are you seeing, and what are insiders buying with a lot of confidence?
Yeah, so we talked about the computers sector. A lot of the quantum computing has been super high. A lot of the fast money traders are gravitating to that. And our scanner picked up some activity, bullish activity in Rigetti Computing. That symbol is RGTI. Take a look at that one. A lot of huge volume coming in at the end of November. The stock was 2.
Wow.
It's testing almost 10 now. And
look at
all that volume coming in. And we saw some hot paper coming in on November 25th. Stock was under $3. Now it's 9. Just to show how aggressive some of these orders are. They're going after the February 7.5 strike calls. They were under 70 cents when they were bought. They're trading for over $3.50 now, and the open interest has grown to 9,000 contracts in the February 7.5 strike calls. Those options now are $2 in the money, plus the extrinsic premium. There's still a couple of months to go until expiration, but those are some of the names that the scanner is picking up. That's bringing our attention to our dark money indicator members and subscribers. That's just an example. That would be one. It's made a big run, but just like Red Cat, look for an opportunity on a pullback or something like that. This one, quantum computing strong.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries.
Yeah, but before we move on, I just want to point out that what we see on this dark money indicator is what at the time is a very risky option, and it doesn't mean that people who work with Costas should go ahead and buy exactly that option, because they could just see that this crazy option is being bought, that somebody is very bullish on that. It's up at 4 now, by the way, and people that follow this this indicator can go out and buy a much more conservative option. They can just buy the stock. They don't even have to be in the options market. So that's the other thing. We have what at the time the 7.5. It's in the money, but it was way out of the money. This was when the stock was at 350. And what was this call trading at? The 7.5 call?
60 cents at the time.
60 cents. It's
Yeah.
up
So,
$4.
I mean, even for me, I was like, there's no way I could recommend that option. Was so aggressive, so early. I was like, that's crazy. But we were finding other ways, exactly what you said, to take advantage of that information, whether it's just buying the stock or moving down in strike price or something like that, to take advantage of it. But it's amazing. It's hard to believe some of these moves within these quantum computing stocks that, I mean, they're even blowing my mind of how fast and how far they've moved. I'm like, that's crazy, going after those options, and here they are. They're trading for $4 now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at market surge right now. Let me see if I could share this with you very quickly. I'm sure you're already familiar with it, but let me just pop in there. Market surge. I think this is what's going to show on your screen. All right, so you can see the number of funds quarter by quarter. 38 funds own it, then 46 3 months later, 68 funds 3 months later, 85 funds, and that's as of September. As of now, it's probably a lot more, judging by the amount of volume that we just saw come into the stock. And if you look, okay, so the earnings appear to be accelerating. They expect them to accelerate, as well as the revenue. This is kind of like Red Cat, where they have hardly any revenue. You see 3.1 million in a quarter, 2.4 million in a quarter, not a lot of revenue. So it's really the future prospects, I think, that people are looking at. Kind of like Red Cat, they do about the same amount of revenue, it looks like. You got a market cap of 1.8 billion, which obviously went up about 10 times. It used to be 180 million, and now it's 1.8 billion.
It's over 2 billion now.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let's go back to. All right. Great piece of information here. I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to just show you. Here you are.
Here's the other thing too, is if you don't want to trade one of these individual stocks, you can look at an ETF. An ETF within the computers that covers quantum computing is QTUM is the symbol. Take a look at that. That actually went out at a new high.
Wow.
And you get all of them. You don't have to pick one particular winner. It had a really big day yesterday on Monday, and this is an ETF that's I would keep this one on the radar. I'm going to be adding to it. You can also sell the options markets are a little bit wide, but I was able to play around in quantum. You could sell downside puts, put some cash to work. If it does pull back, you can get it, or you can earn relatively high yields on your cash. Then you can get in a money market account and see if this thing pulls back. If not, you're collecting a nice cash payment on that cash. That investment
big spread. Very difficult to do anything with this. First of all, not a lot of strikes. It goes from 80 straight to 110. It's up. It is up 2.7 today. So we were closer to 80 at the time. But such a big spread. It's got to be very hard to go in there and sell premium on this. I want to take a look at Red Cat. Going back to the drones, RCAT, because when we were looking at this last week, we saw 20 to 25% premium that you can collect. And I thought it would drop after earnings were announced, and it did. So let's see. With a calculator here, I'm going to look at about 1.3 divided by 8, where the strike price is. You get about a 16%. Still, that's a huge premium. So you get paid 16%. And what you're doing when you sell these naked puts, again, you're selling naked puts, and this is the January, so it expires in 31 days. So for 1 month, the contract expires. They can get 16% for selling the January 8 put. So you get 16% paid to you. That's it. Transaction done. You have that money in your account. And what you're doing is you're promising that you're going to buy this great drone stock for $8, which is 50 cents lower than it is right now. So you're getting paid 16% either way, you're getting paid 16%. But if the stock drops below 8 by expiration day, it's put to you, and now you own the stock from 8. You got paid $1.30. That makes your break even $6.70. And if we pulled the chart, that means your break even is way the heck down here, which is pretty much at the support level. It's a great play right now to do that. And yesterday, you would have gotten paid 25% to do the same thing, although the stock did drop. So we're looking at drone stocks, we're looking at quantum computing stocks, and we're looking at quantum computing ETFs. And that quantum computing ETF is extremely interesting to me. I would certainly wait for a pullback. Maybe I wait for a pullback to 78 or something, but definitely something you want to have in your portfolio. Computers is the #1 strongest sector right now out of 45 groups. You're not seeing it, but I'm showing on the screen the Defiance Quantum ETF holdings. They're showing the top 10 holdings is only 28%. So it's a very it's a nice ETF. It's not equally weighted, but it's not skewed so much. You look at the top holdings, maybe the top 4 holdings have 6%, 4%, 3.5%. But then below that, you got a lot that are about 1.8, 1.7, and 3 of them that are about 1. It's a nicely weighted ETF, is what I'm saying. You want to buy this on a pullback. So let's hope that the stock market pulls back some more and gives some opportunity. And what I think our viewers should most pay attention to, the market's been selling off. The market has been selling off. Anybody will tell you, if you're looking at the Dow, the market's been selling off. Even if you're looking at small caps, you're looking at a market that's selling off. But we just looked at computer stocks, and that's the #1 strongest sector out of all 45. And these things are exploding to the point where we're like, I don't even know if I could buy it up here. So remember, keep a focus on sector activity, right? Because sectors are like a lot of different stock markets within the general stock market. They have their own agenda. You got some sectors that are getting clobbered, other ones that are like 1999 internet stocks right now. Big SIBO.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see the run in these quantum computing companies, but they're very volatile. Like you said, there's different strategies. You can take advantage of that volatility by selling premium. Look for pullbacks. I mean, they're going up. They're also pulling back, just like what you're seeing in Red Cat. To me, this looks like a buying opportunity off that weakness. And you see the very similar things. Take another quantum computing stock. Like look at IonQ. Those things just don't go straight up. I mean, you see some pullbacks along the way.
Nice.
Another quantum computing company. And you can see it. There's pullbacks along the way. Not too long ago, it was trading under $30 per share, and now it's 42. Right. And then so you will get opportunities. Just got to keep them on your radar, your watch list, and when there is those pullbacks, then you can buy and accumulate. Amazing stuff, Costas. SIBO, thank you so much for giving us your time today. We're going to send this out in our it's a semi-regular video that we send out, but we send it out when we send it out, right? We send it out when we have something to say. We send it out when we have quality over quantity. Thank you very much, SIBO, for joining us. Very much appreciate it. I'll let you get back to work. All right, everybody. Remember, join us. Come back to this page regularly. If you're not signed up to Chris Rowe Show on YouTube, make sure you sign up to Chris Rowe Show on YouTube. Check out our True Market Insider free e-letter. It's every single day, give or take. You don't want to miss a beat. And Costas Pacelli is running the Dark Money Indicator. It's something you should take a look at. He also runs Profit Skimmer, where he's trading vertical spreads. That's it. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks a lot, SIBO. Happy holidays. Take it easy.